What's going on YouTube? Welcome in, I am LuboATM as always, and welcome to the second Tome Time video. For those who haven't seen the previous one, this is basically where I'm going to go through each tome, each part of each tome in Dead by Daylight, and give you a guide of how you can progress through the tome as quickly and as efficiently as possible to get all those tasty blood points and rift fragments. The last video we did was Tome 7 Part 3 for the Survivor side. Today we're going to look at that same tome but on the killer side, so we'll get jumped in and give you all those hints and tips. Now, first one on the tome for the killer side is the Unleash the Rage, which is break 25 pallets, breakable walls or generators. So my tips for this is going to be use a killer that can do these things like break pallets and breakable walls with their power. It will just save you a lot of time. So on the screen there you can see I've put up Demogorgon. So for this one I use Demogorgon because you can use your shred attack to break pallets and walls, which kind of gets you to break through them quicker. You don't have to rely on like the animations and things like that and loses you time. So you could use Demogorgon, you could use Hellbilly, you could use Bubba, you could use Blight. Any killer that has it within their power to break these things will help you out greatly. And as you can see, the two perks that I've put up there are Surge and Pop Goes the Weasel. So for kicking generators, then if you're going to be kicking generators, they'll just be randomly doing it throughout the match because you'll lose yourself a lot of time and pressure. So at least these ones will get you the benefit out of it. So if you down someone with Surge, you partially regress a generator nearby. You can hook them and then go back and kick that generator with Pop. So you're getting your kicks, plus you're also getting like 25% regression for doing it. And if you're going to do it with Demogorgon, I've put some add-on recommendations on the screen as well, which is Barb's Glasses, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but basically what they both do is give you reduced recovery time for breaking a pallet or missing a shred, and that will just help you kind of to burn through this one quickly. Right, next one, I've kind of grouped the next three together because they're not ones that can give you really specific tips and tricks for doing. So you've got Hook 20 survivors, Sacrifice 12 to the entity, and hit survivors with your weapon 20 times. So basically, my advice for doing these ones would be just play the killer you're most comfortable with the build you're most comfortable with, and just play through them naturally. There's some things you can do around a couple of different ones. So like your hit a survivor 20 times, like try and make sure you use an M1 killer, so that you're using your M1 attack with your weapon as opposed to hitting people with your powers and things like that. So try and avoid people like Blight, like Huntress, blanking on other ones, but you know, people like that. Try and avoid people like that and stick to like an M1 killer. Sacrifice 20 or 12 survivors to the entity, or hook 20 survivors is just stuff you're going to do naturally. And if you're using the killer that you're best with, or the build that you're best with, or add-on combos, then you'll get them progressively over time through games. So I've just kind of thrown up quickly on the screen there as well. The build and stuff that I use, or a build I use for similar challenges like this. So I run Wraith, I run the perks of Whispers, Ruin, Barbecue, and Nurses, running the Iridescent add-on that hides the noise of your Wailing Bell, and the add-on that reduces your reappearance time from cloaking, and then a Midwich Offering, because they're really good for that sort of thing. You can come up from behind corners, and obviously your bell doesn't make any noise. You can get people by surprise. Nurses, you can catch people out when they're healing, things like that. It's just a kind of a example build you could use to do these challenges that will probably get you pretty good results. That's certainly the one that I use most of the time if I have to do like sacrifices or hooks and things like that, because it's catching people off guard basically. Next one we'll look at is the culmination of corruption, which is finish the trial with before all generators are repaired using the perk corrupt intervention. So basically the advice you want for this one is use a killer that will benefit from corrupt intervention in the early game. So all killers benefit from the delay in starting gens, because that's the hardest time for any killer is the early game. So, but you want to be doing this challenge with killers that will take advantage of the fact that you're funneling survivors towards you. So I've got on the screen there that I've got Hag with like a suggested build, but you could also use people like Huntress, like Deathslinger, Trapper, Bubba, people like that, people who benefit from you pushing survivors into you, where you can be really aggressive and get downs. So the build I've suggested for this one is the is the Mint Rag Rusty Shackles Hag. So Mint Rag Rusty Shackle combo basically means you can transport or teleport to any trap on the map, and you don't give them the kind of the jump scare hag when they trigger a trap. And you'll run this with Corrupt, Barbecue and Chili, Devour Hope, and Undying. It's just a really aggressive build. So basically what you're going to want to do is you want to find people early, which will help you with Corrupt because they'll push them into you. You then want to get someone down, get them on a hook, trap the hook, use your Mint Rag to basically teleport out with Devour Hope range, and then kind of, once they get unhooked, teleport back, and then kind of do your general hag gameplay from there. The point is to snowball and get enough perks or enough stacks from Devour Hope that you can start one-shot downing and Morian people, and then hopefully kill everyone before the generators are finished. But you can do this with any sort of overly aggressive build with killers who benefit from this. Like, so you could do Huntress, and you could run it with like Whispers, Barbecue. What else could you put on that one? You could also put on like Iron Maiden, for example, so you can get quicker reload speed from lockers, and like a Shadowborn so you get better FOV. Just you can go super aggressive and just try and get as many kills and downs as you can as early as possible. Next one is Deadly Pursuit, which is chase survivors for a total of 240 seconds. I was contemplating putting this into like the communal ones that you'll do naturally, but I thought you could do like a wee bit more with this, because like chase, you'll do it naturally, you know what I mean? Like 240 seconds is what, 4 minutes? So like you've got to chase people for 4 minutes. So basically what you want to do is use people who aren't incredibly oppressive in chase. So you don't want to be using like Deathslinger, Huntress, Pyramid Head, people like that who shut down chases really quickly with their either their range attacks or their power. So you kind of want to be using people who you can get decent lengths of chase out of, but can still get good value out of those chases. So like the three I've got on screen there is like you could use Doctor, you could use Legion, you could use Clown, and the build I would recommend for that is basically you want to get a good balance of prolonging the game so you can get as long a chase as possible, and visibility so you know where to find people quickly. So I've got Barbecue and Chili, so you can get auras for people after they've been hooked, Discordance so you can see more than one person working on a generator, and then Ruin Undying, which isn't as strong as it used to be, but it still gives you that kind of safety net that if they break your totem first it's always going to be Undying, which still gives you kind of Ruin benefit, especially if you're going to be pressuring people off gens with Discordance. So that gives you a good kind of like half visibility, half regression build, and use one of these killers to use their kind of they're still strong in chase, but they're not oppressive, so you're not going to be shutting down chases within a couple of seconds. You can at least get some good benefit out of their chases. Next up is Buried Underground, which is hook 12 survivors in the basement, and I cannot believe I'm going to advocate this on any sort of video, but for this you just need to do a basement build. You just need to do a basement build, preferably with like a trapper or a bubba, which I've got on screen there just now. You want your agitation and your iron grass so you can carry people for miles, and you want to be able to take them into the basement, and you want to be able to get the value once they're in the basement that you can take advantage and get more people in the hook. So whether that's trapping up the basement as trapper, whether it's using your chainsaw to down multiple people as they're coming out of basement as bubba, basically what you want to be doing is recycling hooks or one for one in people in that environment, so you can basically, as soon as someone comes off the hook, you're putting someone else on, and that'll help you burn through this challenge relatively quickly. Again, I cannot believe I'm advocating basement bubba or basement trapper, but it's happening. It's the easiest way to get through this challenge and get through this challenge quickly. So please don't hate me as much as I already hate myself for it. But yeah, that's your tip for this one. Right, next one is McMillan's Mastery. So it's finish a trial with no more than one living survivor while using Unnerving Presence, Brutal Strength and Agitation. So basically get a minimum of a 3k using Trapper's base perks. So I'm going to recommend you play it with Trapper because it makes sense. So basically what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to use that 4th perk slot wisely. So you wanted to synergize with something in the build. So you could use Enduring to pair with Brutal Strength, but that's not going to guarantee you your 3k. You could pair something with Unnerving Presence, but there's probably not a lot of point. So I've went there by recommending Iron Grasp, but I've just talked about it before with Basement. I hate myself for doing it, but it is going to get you results, and you will get multiple kills. If you run basically Basement Trapper with the other 2 perks, you will get value out of this, and eventually it might take you a game or two just to kind of get used to where to set the traps and get a team that are going to maybe fall for it. But this is a really good build for doing that. Again, hate myself for advocating basement builds, but yeah, that's the recommendation I'd go for to get through this trial. Right, getting away from all of the basement related stuff now, we're going to go for the challenge, which is you, yes you, which is hook the obsession 4 times in one trial. So you can see down there I've got a build put there with Oni. The key thing that you're going to want to use is you want to run the pairing of Nemesis and Enduring. Basically, when you get stunned by a pallet, when you're running Nemesis, whoever pallet stuns you becomes the obsession, and Enduring basically means that you don't have to eat the pallet stun. It's like 50% reduced and you can be back on the chase quickly. So basically you're going to want to do that, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to want to cycle through obsessions throughout the match. So you don't want to just have one obsession. You want to be able to like hook someone, start another chase, get yourself into taking a pallet stun, get a new obsession, hook them, so on and so forth. So I've just recommended the all-seeing Oni build for this one because you can do that on virtually any indoor map. Where you play as Oni, run whispers so you can locate people within 32 meters. Nemesis Enduring for the purposes we just talked about. Barbecue to see auras once you put people on hook, and run the bloody gauntlet and the wooden mask, which basically makes them drop a shit ton of orbs when they're injured, and then you can see people when they run through orbs. So if you do this on Hawkins or Midwich, basically injure as many people as you can, get them to drop lots of blood orbs, and then as soon as anyone runs through that blood orbs, you know where they are at all times, and you can then engage in chases, get your Nemesis value, and then start hooking obsessions. Right, so we've got Spring the Trap next, which is catch 4 survivors in bear traps within 10 meters of a pallet, vault, or breakable wall as Trapper. So I've not put any sort of like builds or anything like that. Like, you basically just need to play as Trapper. You can use like potentially OP add-ons for the stuff like the traps that reset themselves, like the Eddie Stone, Trapper bags so you can carry extra traps. So like I'm not going to get into like a specific build that'll help you, because the main thing is you're just catching people in traps in specific places. So you can see the points on the screen. Do not place traps in the middle of the pallets, because if you place it right in the middle of a pallet, then basically what survivors will do will just throw down the pallet and vault over it so they don't get caught in the trap. Then you have to break the pallet, which basically negates your ability to trap people next to the pallet, basically. Try and place them around looping paths rather than the obvious, and what I mean by that is, like, for example, if you want to trap someone at a pallet vault, for example, you're not going to necessarily want to put that trap right at the pallet. But like if it's like a long, say it's like it's a safe loop and they've got kind of a long side that they're going to keep looping around, don't put it right at the pallet. Maybe put it just as they would path around the wall, because obviously you want to take the loop at the tightest angle so you can maintain the most amount of distance. So if they go by the pallet and then automatically go to clutch the wall, if you put that trap hidden in grass along that wall, you'll be more likely to catch them than if they see that the trap's there. They'll just try and bypass the trap, go around it, or leave that loop. So just be less obvious with your trap placement, basically. And then finally, try and take advantage of strong looks like shack or safe windows. So trap and shack window, you've got like the super strong window at McMillan. Just trap safe windows, because survivors, even though they're playing Trapper and they'll know you'll have traps, their mind will automatically go, I need to get to the next safe place. So if they're close to like an infinite, or they're close to like an incredibly safe window, they're just automatically going to go for that and not necessarily think about traps. So try and take advantage of that and trap people as they vault through windows, in super safe spots like shack or like for example that one in McMillan. There's a few in Midwich, like the ones between classrooms and stuff like that. People will vault first and think later, basically. So that would be my advice for that challenge. Right, so if you watched the Survivor video yesterday, you'll know I clumped this one in with the other two kind of communal ones, like the glyph and the gold emblems. I've separated this out today because it's slightly different for Survivor. I know you've got We're Going to Live Forever for Survivor, but basically if you need to get 100,000 blood points and you're doing it on killer, basically pick any killer that you're particularly good with and you know you have a good game with, and run barbecue and chili, and if you can, run an escape cake or bloody party streamers. Even if you have a bang average game and get maybe like 24,000, 25,000 points, with barbecue and chili and these offerings, you're basically guaranteed like 75k for a match as long as you hook everyone once. You know what I mean? Like, so you can basically clear this off in 2 matches maybe at a push. You could even potentially push it off in 1, depending if other people bring bloody party streamers or whatever, or escape or gas legatos or something like that. So yeah, that's just. Go for that. Doesn't matter what killer you use, as long as you're good with that killer and you know that you get a good amount of blood points. Just run barbecue and chili, make sure you hook everyone once, and then if you've got additional 100% blood point offerings, will be your easiest way to get through this challenge. And finally, we come to the glyph secret in the Golden Age, which is the commune with 5 glyphs and earn 15 gold emblems of quality. Same as this Survivor one yesterday. I'm not going to spend ages talking about it. Basically, just take your best killer with your best build, and play at your strengths. Basically, if you know that you're not particularly good at like Chaser, you can focus on other things like Malicious or Devout for the emblem one. Just make sure that you're going to be hitting those gold ones. And same with the commune with the red glyph, same as Survivor. Just make sure that you're doing it at a time when you're in control of the map. Don't drop a chase mid-chase to commune with a glyph. Continue with your chase, get the down in the hook, and then go back for it. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to lose pressure in the game just to commune with a glyph. Stuff like that. Pretty straightforward, not really a lot to talk about on these ones. And there we go, guys. That's us done, dusted, finished, finito on the killer challenges for Tome 7 Part 3. I hope you found the hints and tips helpful. I hope you found the kind of build suggestions helpful. Please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, it really helps me out. Come see me over on Twitch a couple of times a week at twitch.tv/LiboATM. Would love to chat to each and every one of you. I've just fully revamped all my Twitch stuff to get more sort of like community-based rewards and allow you all lovely people to torture me on a regular basis with horrible builds and things like that. So please jump over, take advantage of that, and I think the plan I'll probably do the next series of videos by just doing all of Tome 7, and then I'll go back and start from Tome 1 and start working through the tomes from Tome 1 onward. So I think that'll be the plan anyway, so I'll probably do 7 Part 1, then 7 Part 2 next, and we'll go from there. But as always, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Until I see you next time, peace.